Painter's Lunch. Yeah, there we go. Got my face in. Welcome to Painter's Lunch. We are not sponsored by REI. We're sponsored by. Hey, how's it going? We are sponsored today by Sasquatch. I'll make the rules. That's how it goes. I do find it funny though. All these people keep kind of popping up and I'm like, hey, and then they leave. But I understand. We all got stuff we got to do, and this is kind of a weird time to do so. First crispy bite of my tofu. So I season that. So first what you do is you buy firm tofu. You drain all the water out. Then you put it in your freezer. I like to use the container it comes in. Then after about 3 hours, you take it back out and you let it thaw. And then you squeeze it while it's thawed out. Forgot to add water. You gotta go add water. You freeze it, you squeeze it so it thaws out. Because although most of it is no longer juicy, sometimes it's still a little juicy. And you don't want it to be juicy, you want it to be firm, like hard. Like hard, not hard, but squishy. But not like wet squishy. And so you do that. And then once you've done that, you put some salt on it. You put it in with that container. You let it kind of sit out for a little bit, like 15, 20 minutes. And then once that's done, that gets all the rest of the moisture out. Then that you want gone. And then you just kind of chop it up and you season it and you do all that stuff. And then you just let it just sit in like a slightly bigger dish. And just let it sit in there. You add a little bit of water so it sucks it back up a little bit. And then when you're ready to cook, you pull it out and you just kind of put oil in the pan. You let it cook. And then once you've let it cook for a little while, on like medium to low, you then flip it. And once you get the right consistency, then it's ready to eat. And of course, you season it and you do all that stuff. That's just the way you do things. And I've always eaten it with chopsticks. Because that's how I was taught to do. And now the inevitable slurp that will probably drive most of you away. No, I use like yellow onions. A lot of people use green onions. But this is the most Painter's lunch you'll ever see. I love eating this. This is one of my favorite foods in the whole world. I love this over most foods, actually. I don't eat ramen all the time. It's really high in sodium. But I do lots of stuff. So those be the things. I don't know. So in my artist adventure of life, I really got into ramen when I moved to the beach. I had this friend who loved sushi, and I could not afford to do that all the time. So we would go to this really traditional like sushi shop had like tables, and you sat on pillows on the ground, and it was like, it was really really good, just amazing. But I started hearing about ramen shops, so I checked out a few of those. They were pretty inexpensive, and I deeply, deeply, deeply fell in love with them. My frizzy hairs, they always want to come out, touch things. Hey Ryan, how's it going? Thanks for joining. And yeah, it was just kind of one of those things. I always thought it was kind of interesting how ramen shops kind of came to like little spots in little spaces in this in major cities. Like they're never quite on the main road. They're always like slightly to the side, even though more than enough people love them, which is always kind of interesting. No, normally I don't eat in silence, obviously. I'm normally eating with some jazz music kind of playing, Dizzy Gillespie, etc. But I don't want to get a copyright strike, so I can't play any music right now. So if you are somewhere, you can put that on and listen to me while I imagine that I'm listening to it while I'm eating food and talking to you. I think the interesting thing about most of this is that I just got fried pieces of seasoning. That's not good. That needs to go in the water so it can dilute more. It's like a little salt ball. It's horrible. I don't know. I'm thinking about doing some cool art stuff today. In between all the other stuff that I'm doing. It's like I've got my mixtape going, which I think is very cool. I'll show you. Just entertain yourselves for a second. I'm coming back. Calm down. Don't freak out. I know the loneliness is killing you, but I'm back. So I made this last night. It is my mixtape for the season. First track is Ben Harper, Ain't No Noise, Ain't No Use. My second track is Flo Milli, Pretty Girls. My third track is Lord Te Amo Maralma. I don't speak New Zealand, Tahitian. I don't know. I don't know what to call it. I forget what the language is. Japanese Breakfast is the next one. Country. Rugged Country. Sorry. Side B. Japanese Breakfast again. Paprika. And then my last track is Leaky Lee 5D. So, if there's enough requests for this, I'll make this into a print and you can get it. Otherwise, I'm just going to make it and it'll just be in my studio. And maybe I'll give it to someone eventually. Or I'll put it in my book. My next book. It's coming out in 2024. So you got some time. But I don't know. I'm just trying to kind of figure out what I want to do next. I would be lying if I said I had it all kind of figured out. I don't think anyone ever has it all figured out. I think that's probably the big lie of adulthood. that the person beside you, or social media even, that the person beside you has it figured out. That they in somehow and in some way have managed to avoid the pitfalls in which you've fallen into in your age and experience. There's a certain amount of that that's just kind of a lie. And it's less a lie of people than it is of brands. There are a lot of brands out there that want you to think like, if you do these steps, you'll be better. And you can't really guarantee that with anything. Oh, my drink, by the way, is a fruit punch. Just a regular ass fruit punch. Now it's one of those Mio things you spray in water. I've been trying to drink like tons of water this season. I drink a ridiculous amount of water in general, but I'm trying to just stay cool and hydrated this season. So I've been doing that. I feel pretty good about it. I really want to go by the art store today to pick up another sketchbook because I just don't have enough. Even though I have like a pile of them, not enough. I need more. I need like a little one that I can carry around with me. I don't have a little one right now. I have like pads that are like this size, as well as like bigger ones, but I don't have like a small one that I have like in my little leather bound one that I carry with me. Hello, who's ever following me, watching me right now on YouTube. Hi. I just feel like when I carry around my little book with me, I feel like I can like just make whatever. And it's just kind of accessible and ready, where I don't feel that way the other ways, the other books. It's kind of strange. It feels almost like they have special designations. Hello, Dara. Thanks for joining me. Yeah, it's just kind of, it's one of those things where you feel like you don't have enough memory space, you know, to just do stuff, to make things. Like properly. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's typically kind of the curse of those who make things. The curse of those, hey YouTube, the curse of those who make things often are is we're always in like deep fear of there being less, like space and time to create the things when we need to make them. So like, in my case, I'll have this huge roll of like art papers, and as I fill them out and use them, I become hit with just a crazy amount of dread. Crazy amount of dread that I'm not going to have any paper anymore, and that it's totally going to spill on this. That when I need to make something eventually in the middle of the night, I won't have it, and that fear kind of grips me. The only real solution is to just have tons and tons and tons of paper constantly. But the flaw in that logic is I do enjoy going to the art store and talking with all the people. Hey, YouTube. Um, and so I don't ever want to have so much paper that I haven't, and ink and so on, that I have no reason to go there for months on end. A lot of times, when I have a crazy amount of paper and ink and whatnot, sometimes I go on like a crazy bender of madness with all my art supplies. And I just start making and making and making. Hey, Zoe. I start making and making and making and making and making to just a crazy degree. I think one year I had to have made like maybe 50, 60 paintings, which for those who don't make art is a lot. Some of us only make, 2 to 5 paintings a year. So 60 is a bit intense. Upside, you get those cool, like, I stand up and paint on things abs. You get like a hard, it's a core exercise. So you're sexy, but you're also like very tired. And your brain's kind of hitting rock bottom at the same time. Because it is a well, It is a well. Let me put this over here so the YouTube people can see it, but the Instagram people can't. It is a well of creativity that is kind of tapped in the whole time, and you can kind of overfish to the point where you're just kind of shaky and crazy. In addition to that, there's a certain amount of marketing you have to do. Like I myself am not, at the level of artistic fame as a Laura Zombie. But I do have fans, and I do sell paintings, and I've done fairly well for myself. So I do need to kind of reach beyond just the painting and the canvas and all that stuff. I have to take photography and write little interesting notes and send out mail and make prints and all that stuff. So it all kind of comes and plays into itself. And then on occasions I want to make prints. I want to make printmaking pieces. And I want to film and listen to music and feel reinvigorated, recharged. So I try not to do 60 in a year anymore. I try to do however many my mind takes me to. I remember somebody said they were like, well, the pandemic must have been real great for like creativity. Not really. Not as much as one would think. I had the same pandemic you had. Like, we were locked inside. We were masked. Still masked. We're working like dogs constantly at whatever paid our bills. I'm a mechanic outside of this. And supplies were kind of limited. So there's that fear of running out with an actual fear of actually running out of things. And that was a lot to take in, to be honest. What I want to do, I feel, is maybe take some of those rolls that I have, use my paper cutters to cut them into a big book, and then bind it, make a big sketchbook or a little guy, and have my own version that I can use for my papers and all these things. Because I think the problem I have now is because I have so many different types of paper, not all of them work well as the others do. My rolls seem to kind of allow anything and everything to come together. Well, my books are more kind of limited as far as being able to use all my tools. So I like to use painter's tape when I want to do my geometric stuff. And sadly, painter's tape, even on paper like this, just rips everything that you put on it off. So then I have to freehand everything. But freehanding, as fun as it is, doesn't always give me the look that I want. So I become a bit perplexed by all of it. Hello, Tina. Long time no see. So, with that, I'm trying to figure out the middle, the median, the way in which all of it comes together. Yes, indeed, ramen. And I don't know next what exactly to do. I've never tried to do bookbinding before. I've never tried to make a watercolor sketchbook. Well, then I'm just going to make hand motions so that you know. Talking about a book. A book. Yeah, so it's a new thing to learn. A new thing to kind of expand myself with. I feel like I can do this, but I don't know exactly how I'm going to do it or when I'm going to do it. But I know I'm going to. It's just a question of what is the next step, the starting point. There's this quote I hear every once in a while in my head, which is, the fear of starting something oftentimes comes with the fear of failure. Because, you know, when you start something for the first time, you're probably going to fail at it. And you have to be willing to accept that you may fail at something. And that is difficult. But you figure out what you want to be and how you want to do. The journey is not always easy, but if your heart is there, you'll find the way. Well, I finished my lunch. I got more painting to do. Till next time, Gladys. This is Jaws Blake of, in this case, Painter's Lunch. Saying I'll see you next week. Ciao. Adios. Bye. Bum bum bum. Bum, blah, 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 blah. Doo 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 doo. All right. See you guys.